Hey there, I'm Jackie Ferris. This week on the 302, everyone is forever young as we visit historic Odessa's Peter and Wendy Christmas. Get ready for some Christmas magic as the 302 sprinkles a little pixie dust. Welcome to Historic Odessa. I am joined by Debbie Buxton to talk a little bit about this year's Christmas theme. Debbie, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for coming. We always so enjoy your visits. And this is always the best time of year.
Absolutely. And I know you guys choose a subject from classic literature. So what are we going to see this year?
Well, today you're going to see the classic tale of Peter and Wendy, which was written by J.M. Barrie in 1911. And we've brought the story to life using original illustrations for the most part. We recreate vignettes in the rooms, and we've been doing this for 36 years.
That's amazing.
Long time.
Now, I know when you come in, the front door is where it all starts. It's really gorgeous wreath with a clock on it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. It's all about the passage of time. And if you think about Peter Pan, and you think about how the story progresses through time, starting first with the mother and her mother, it's a generational thing. So Peter comes over and over again to each generation.
Now we have to talk about this gorgeous room. We have a really amazing Christmas tree. Talk to me a little bit about the touches that you've woven into the exhibit.
Well, we begin with the book, and then we start to study the original illustrations, looking for things that we can connect to our collection. The Historic Odessa Foundation has a collection of over 7,000 objects. So then we go shopping in the storerooms, and we have an opportunity to bring things out at Christmas time that aren't normally seen by the public. So that's lots of fun for the staff. And it's just a creative adventure. This year, the Christmas tree is decorated in a very traditionally Victorian fashion. The cones filled with sugar plums, candles, the glass beads, all of the little ornaments that are on the tree, the paper ornaments. This is all very indicative of a Victorian Christmas. And then we have, of course, represented in the portraits, Mr. and Mrs. Darling, and everyone's gathered here in the parlor, and they're thinking about going to bed and getting ready for their night. And as they look around the room, the objects that the children see, like these wonderful brackets with the paper mache urns on top. Mm-hmm. If you look at them, they're indicative of the sea with mermaids and sea serpents. And then over here you see we've selected a ship. So these are the objects that the children are exposed to on a daily basis, and they take this to bed with them in their dreams.
So putting something together like this, it takes a team, but it's headed by one person.
It is, and the creative mind behind this is our curator of Changing Exhibitions, Brian Miller. And it's very exciting. Every year he surprises us all, and every year I tell him it's the best one ever.
Fantastic. And Brian is going to take us on a little tour.
Brian is going to take us on a little tour.
Okay, Jackie, let's go take a look through the rest of Peter and Wendy.
This is really amazing. You guys always do a great job, but this year is really, really nice.
Well, thanks very much. It's really a pleasure to have you, and good to see you again. Here in the hall, we have an original copy of the book Peter and Wendy, along with a photograph of the author, J.M. Barrie. And then obviously, since it's called Peter and Wendy, we have silhouettes of Peter and Wendy. And we have the title on the wall and the date, the year 1911. And the very first page is illustrated there. It was first published in London, and then it came right away to the United States for Christmas.
I'm really enjoying the portraits. I know we had the parents in the parlor And now I'm assuming these are the two boys and Wendy.
Yes, we have Wendy and her two brothers represented with this portrait, which is on loan to us. We have 18 different lenders for our exhibit this year, so it's really special to have everyone's participation and all these other people to show their beautiful things in our house as well.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about what's going on with the clock here.
Sure. The clock in the Odessa collection was made in Smyrna, Delaware, and the coolest thing is that it's just another one of those pieces of time represented in this story. So it looks perfect here in the center hall. And then it's obviously next to a silhouette of Big Ben in London, where the children follow Peter Pan and Tinkerbell off to Neverland.
That's amazing. Now I'm excited to follow this story into the next room. You want to show us what we've got going there?
Sure, let's go into
the
darling nursery.
And we are in the children's room right now. Brian, tell us what we've got here.
Right. Well, all of the children are represented. Each one has their own little bed. And then each one has things on the bed that represents them throughout the story. And it even includes their nursery nana, or their, what would you call it, their nanny, which was a Newfoundland dog. Yeah. So there is a dog house right in the room, along with a dog dish with the word Nana on it, and she takes care of them. Otherwise in the room there is a rocking chair for their mother, Mary, who reads them stories at night, obviously. But then you might notice on the wall there is a shadow of Peter Pan. So he's represented with that shadow, and I think it's really cool how he's sort of tiptoeing right on the picture frame that's hung on the wall. I used one of the original illustrations for the inspiration for this room, and it had a cuckoo clock. So again, the whole idea of time is represented throughout the story.
And every single object has some kind of meaning.
Yes, everything from what Wendy is wearing when they fly off to Neverland to her older brother John, who has turned his bed into a ship. So I don't know if you noticed that earlier, but he has taken a curtain from the upstairs bedroom, and he's made a mast of a ship and the sails, and then he has his oar, and he's the one who has the little glasses, wears a top hat, and off to Neverland he carries his umbrella.
Absolutely. And we talked about everything having meaning. There's a bust that has meaning to his name. Is that right?
Yeah, so John's middle name was Napoleon in the story. So yeah, we have a bust of Napoleon. And then his younger brother is at the smallest bed, and he's in a little red onesie. He's the youngest, named Michael. And at his bed is his teddy bear, which he carries as they fly off to Neverland.
Now, there's maybe a little foreshadowing. I see there's a cannon here. Does that kind of speak to what we're going to be seeing later in the exhibit, or in the story, as it were?
Yes, definitely. Foreshadowing the future when they are in Neverland with Captain James Hook and the pirates.
So would you suggest, if someone's going to come and check out the exhibit, maybe they should do a little bit of the reading? I mean, it's such a wonderful story to begin with that so many people know, but reading that classic text just, I think, really would supplement this exhibit so nicely.
Definitely, and they would really appreciate it much more, all of the little details. Or I always recommend there are numerous movies that they could watch that would take a shorter amount of time, or go online and do an audiobook, which would work really well as, for preliminary to come through the exhibit.
Maybe on the ride over.
Exactly.
Absolutely, because we are seen in 3 states, so hopefully some of our 302 viewers will come and check it out. But I want to check out the rest of the house. So when we return, we're going to go further into Historic Odessa's Peter Pan Christmas.
Hi, I'm Scott Lackman with the Lewis Historical Society. I'm a volunteer here. We love our history. but we love sharing our spooky side of the history, especially on the 302.
Welcome back. We are at Historic Odessa, where we're checking out a Peter and Wendy Christmas. I'm joined again by Brian Miller, and now we are in the lair of the Lost Boys, right?
Yes, we're underground, and you notice right behind you are 3 ladders to represent that these boys are coming and going. These are lost boys without mothers, and this is where Wendy and her brothers follow Peter Pan and Tinkerbell at the Neverland, and this is where they meet all these boys, and Wendy becomes their mother. She takes care of their laundry, she feeds them, and she reads stories to them.
So when you look around, it's just amazing the creativity that you have. You know, the ladders and the teacups, everything is perfect for the scene.
Well, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to do, obviously. And this room is all about the moss, all about acorns, all about mushrooms. It's all about things that are growing underground. So even on their little tree, they've decorated it with acorns, mushrooms, and rooted vegetables.
Now, are these things that you've had in your collection? I know that you're able to pick from 7,000 objects.
Oh, sure. Most of the furnishings I've chosen from our collection, but things like the mushrooms, they're actually reused from when we did Alice in Wonderland. But the rooted vegetables on the tree, those I found over the summer.
Yeah, and it plays into the theme of the moss that you were talking about. So let's talk a little bit about this clothesline. I know that Wendy becomes the mother and does the laundry. And talk to me a little bit about the idea of putting up a clothesline.
Yeah, so the clothesline makes it a little more obvious, and I wanted to put it really low, and so that it has a collection of waistcoats or waistcoats, they're called. And they're representing all of the little boys. And then right below is their bed, and you notice it has 6 pillows, and it's a very small bed, sort of, and all of the children are in the bed at once. And J.M. Barrie mentions to save space, they turn and move at the same time while they're sleeping. So like, one little boy goes to the left, so all the boys go to the left. So it saves space so they can all fit in the same bed.
Tell me a little bit about the desk.
Okay, well, the desk is in our collection, a child's desk. And, the kids are, doing some studies while they're here. But the little detail that I like the most is on the table right in front of you here. There's a little shell where one of the boys has carved M-O-M right on the top. He's a lost boy. He's longing for home. He's thinking about his mother.
Another detail that I think is really fascinating is if you look around, you've hidden little things for kids as they walk through the exhibit.
Yes, in each room, children and adults love looking for these things as well. There are little fairies that they are going to find along with a Wendy house. A Wendy house is sort of a generic term in England that they use for a little playhouse for little kids. So it's sort of stuck. So if you go to England today, if you say Wendy house, they will know exactly what you mean. And it all comes from this story, Peter and Wendy.
And of course, the books kind of tie into the fact that this is a storytelling. Talk to me about, the books that you chose to put on exhibit.
Sure, there's a collection of English books in the cupboard, and one of the coolest things is on the second shelf is where Tinkerbell lives. So you might notice that she has all her little chairs, her little tea set, and little things obviously in miniature. She lives right here with them, but she has her own little sort of private apartment or condo, if you want to say it like that.
Now, you actually have a Tinkerbell somewhere in the exhibit, right?
Sure, she's in the Darling's bedroom, or in their, I should say, the Darling nursery, and she's sitting right on the woodwork of the top of the door.
Now, you said that you go through classic literature, and the Darling's bedroom was supposed to be, or was inspired of a picture that was in one of those books. So when you set these rooms up, how do you determine, okay, well, we're going to do the Lost Boys here. Talk to me about just your the
Right.
planning, how this all unfolds?
Right. So planning starts usually around February, and I have to first pick one of our historic homes. I can either choose the one that we're in, the Corbett Sharp House, or I choose the Wilson Warner House. And I know the collection really well, and I know each room, but of course, all of the items have to be changed or moved. So, for instance, in this house's dining room, it's not a dining room for Peter and Wendy, but instead it's full of 9 Christmas trees with snow and twinkle lights, and it's representing Neverland. So everything is changed and moved, depending upon also thinking about what the room looks like. So obviously the parlor is a parlor. The bedroom worked out this year well for the nursery as a bedroom. But of course that bedroom typically has a huge poster bed in it, looking like A Christmas Carol, looking like Scrooge is in that room. But obviously I had to make it a children's bedroom. So then I found, in our collection, 3 little beds.
No.
So that's sort of how it works out.
Yeah, it really is amazing. And the one room that I'm really excited to share with the folks at home is the next room. I'll give you a little hint. It has to do with Captain Hook. We'll be right back.
I'm Mike Connolly. I'm the Executive Director at the Newcastle Historical Society. We'd love to welcome you to Newcastle and tell you all about the history of the 302, Delaware.
Welcome back. What is that ticking? Well, that is the sound of the crocodile, right? We are in
The crocodile who swallowed a clock. And here we are in Captain James Hook's ship, his main room, and when he hears that sound, he knows that the crocodile is near. So him and his pirates know to get out of the way.
Absolutely. And when you look around this room, it is such a treat. You really outdid yourself. There is so much to take in, from the hook to the skull. Now that's one of the kids' favorite objects, right?
Yeah, the kids love seeing everything, and this room is like an I Spy, but they're very fascinated with a lit skull, and then, of course, seeing all of the other items. And you mentioned Captain Hook. He's represented with his hook. He's lost his hand with a duel with Peter. And then near the tall clock in the back of the room, there is the suit that he wears, his hat, and his sword. And then again, this room is all about representing time, as I said, with that tall clock, and then right next to you with an hourglass, and then, that ticking sound and the crocodile.
It really does add to, just the whole environment when you come in. You can really kind of sit in the storyline as you look around.
Yeah, I've already told friends that I've given a tour. I could sit down right where Captain Hook sits, put up my big TV, and I could just really enjoy this room because everything is very masculine, it's not bows and Christmas sort of, but yet Christmas is subtly in the room with a red and green light of the port and starboard, or Captain Hook has an oyster shell tree, or the pirates have strung shells to make a very simple garland. And that's really all of the Christmas in the room.
Absolutely. I just love the attention to detail. Talk to me a little bit about it. It looks like we're charting a course here.
Yeah, definitely. One of our lenders has lent all of his charts. Well, not all of them. He had many more, but he picked out ones that he thought would look really interesting in our exhibit. So Captain Hook is actually looking at the Chesapeake Bay. So anybody who's local might recognize that. Whether or not Captain Hook sailed in the Chesapeake Bay, who knows? But it's a map that or chart that looks really well. And then all the other equipment related, a sextant to a spyglass, a compass, a cannonball, a tobacco box, a tea caddy, and then all his loot there, all of the coinage.
You can't forget the pirate booty.
Oh, definitely. And even the glasses have an etched ship on them. So as you said, detail, I just had really a lot of fun collecting all of the different things to make this room what it is.
Now, You said that you learned the difference between an oar and a paddle.
Right.
Through this whole thing.
Yeah, I never expected to learn that, and I never really thought about that. But the lender of the paddles and the oars said, well, Brian, do you know the difference? And I said, well, not really. So the oars are the ones that are hooked to the boat, and you're kind of rowing like this, whereas then if you're having a paddle, you're probably in a smaller boat, like maybe a canoe, and you're just kind of going like this, and it's just you're holding only the one oar or the one paddle.
Well, you are such a blessing to Historic Odessa, to put these together, these designs together. Folks at home may not know you are very acclaimed as far as your holiday design work.
Oh, well,
Can
thanks.
you talk to us a little bit? You've done work at the White House on a routine basis, right?
Well, this is my 19th year doing the exhibits here at Odessa, continuing a long tradition that had already been established. As was mentioned earlier, this is the 36th year.
Yeah.
But then you also mentioned the White House. I had the privilege of going to the White House 2 years ago to help decorate there. So that was a real honor and privilege and amazing experience. And I believe that it has sort of inspired me here, and sort of the ideas used there sort of have come here. Yeah. So, and then my ideas here went there. So, it's a really
absolutely
good experience.
And there are so many ideas that if you were just to walk through, you might miss one. So do you have tours where someone can take you through the story and kind of talk about the objects and the story itself?
Of course, we have all docent-led guided tours. So you would get a full tour if you come Tuesday through Sunday. Our normal hours obviously are 10 to 4:30, and Sundays slightly shorter. And then we also have evening candlelight tours on Tuesdays and Thursday evenings throughout the holiday season, throughout December. So if you look us up online at historicodessa.org, you will find many other great events and things to do right here in Odessa.
Because while this is what you do for the holidays, there's things happening year-round. And there's also a book about a lot of the objects, 100 of the objects, right?
Yes, we're a little bit over 100 objects. Yes, we have a brand new book out from last summer called A Storied Past, written by a great author, Philip Zimmerman, and we have those for sale right here at our visitor center.
Probably make a pretty good Christmas present for history buffs or people who like to decorate.
Definitely would be a wonderful Christmas present.
Well, this has been a wonderful Christmas present for the 302. Brian, thank you so much for sharing Wendy and Peter's Christmas with us.
You are more than welcome, Jackie. It was a pleasure to be with you today.
And we'll be right back. Isn't this exhibit amazing? Well, if you visit, make sure you snap a few pictures and share it with us on Facebook. Now, here are some other things you might want to check out. For more information on this exhibit or any of the cool things that happen here at Historic Odessa, visit historicodessa.org. That'll do it for this week's episode of the 302. Make sure you follow us on Facebook for some behind-the-scenes content you're just not going to see anywhere else. We're going to leave you now with some beautiful area shots of Historic Odessa. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. Tell them you saw it on the 302.